Once you've determined that you're eligible and ready to start the board certification process, you'll want to create an account and think about registering or ordering components. The Guide to National Board Certification is especially helpful in answering questions related to this process. To access this guide, go to the nbpts.org website. Select the Resources link at the top of the page. Then choose Candidate Center. Then choose First Time and Returning Candidate Resources and select the Guide to National Board Certification. If you haven't already done so, you want to set up a candidate account on the nbpts.org website homepage. Select the Get Certified link. Then select Get Started. You will want to start the application process by scrolling down and clicking on the Register Now link. The guide outlines the registration and candidate application process step by step on pages 22 to 25. There is no cost or commitment when creating a candidate account. In order to be considered an active candidate, you must also register and select components. National Board sends important email communications to active candidates periodically. Each year you plan to submit components, you will need to pay a $75 annual registration fee. This must be done before ordering components. You can access the component directions without registering, but you must pay both the registration fees and component fees before the deadline located in the Guide to National Board Certification on pages 4 and 5. To register, click on a certification registration from the left-hand menu when you are in your candidate account. A helpful illustration and directions for registration are found on page 23 of the Guide to National Board Certification. There are 8 steps in the registration process: personal information, employment information, eligibility, agreements, certification selection, registration review, payment, and confirmation. All of these steps are described in the Guide to National Board Certification. I'd like to call your attention to steps 4 and 5. Step 4, Agreements. Please note that when you create your account, you will need to decide whether or not to share your information with third parties, which is done on the Agreements tab when you are creating or modifying your account. Third parties can include groups that offer candidate support or even organizations that provide funding assistance. Third parties will not have access to your scores. National Board requires all third parties to sign confidentiality agreements and only provides access to organizations offering support. Step 5, Certification Selection. If you have questions about which certification area to select, you may want to refer to our Choosing a Certificate area video and the Choosing the Right Certificate resource from National Board on the First Time and Returning Candidates Resources page. To select components, click Purchase Component from the menu on the left of your candidate account screen. You will only want to purchase components that you plan to complete during this current candidate cycle or school year. If you aren't sure which components to select at this time, look for our Getting Started on the Work video for some helpful tips. Purchasing components has 5 steps: select component, agreement, order review, payment, and confirmation. Payment for the components is not required when ordering the component. You must complete steps 1 to 3 and click Submit Order for the component to be reflected on your account. Payment must be completed by the deadline outlined in the Guide to National Board Certification. If you have specific questions about creating an account, registering, or purchasing components, reach out to 1-800-22-TEACH, or you can email customer support by selecting the Contact Us link at the bottom of any page on the nbpts.org website and completing the National Board web form.